Hi, everybody. I'm Troy Ladoff, and I'm the president of the Blue Collar Recruiter and the Blue Collar Virtual Trade School. And today I've got my friend Curry Govro with us from Honest Water Filter Company and Visionary Training Solutions. Curry and I worked together at Clockwork Home Services for quite a long time and we've become very close friends. And we're going to do a little show for you here today. But before we do that, I want to introduce Curry and have him tell us a little bit about yourself and what you've been up to.
Troy, thank you for having me. As you know, you and I have worked in the skilled trades for many years, and we share a passion for that. And even though we left Clockwork, we still stayed in that area because that's where we get our fulfillment. And the two organizations that I'm a part of, I'm the vice president of the Honest Water Filter Company, and our goal is to help the plumbing industry offer a water treatment product that is needed in every home. Our product is certified by NSF to have the best performance in the world, and it's affordable to every homeowner regardless of their economic station in life. We believe in water treatment, and we think that it's something that is overlooked a lot of times, and we believe that the plumbers are the appropriate channel to bring that to the homeowner. At Visionary Training Solutions, we feel that the success of a business is directly related to the leader of that organization. Training is the solution to your problems of tomorrow, but identifying the problems is a solution to your problems today. And we show you what's possible by consulting with you, coaching with you, and training every level of your organization.
You got a lot going on, my friend. It's fun to watch.
Well, I appreciate that, Troy, and I gotta give it right back to you because you did not sit still. You are doing several different things. It's exciting for us to watch you build something from scratch that is going to completely change the skilled trade businesses, both from the owners and leaders of the organizations down to getting people into the industry. And I think it's amazing.
I'm excited to talk more about it today during this conversation. And what I think would be just fun to do, Curry, is just have kind of a back and forth and throw some questions at me about the Blue Collar Recruiter that might have, struck a chord with you, or some ways that I can clarify what we're trying to do over here. And yeah, that'd be fun.
No, absolutely. I'm really interested not only to bring your message out, but to learn myself a little bit deeper. I know we've had many conversations, but first, can you tell me what is the Blue Collar Recruiter and why did you want to start it?
So for those who don't know, I've been in the home service industry for 20 years at least, from owning some businesses to running big businesses to recruiting for new franchisees to come into this business. And by far, the number one challenge has been finding people, right? If I've heard it once, I've heard it 1,000 times. If I just had more technicians, right, my business would really take off. And so for a long time, I just thought, well, there's got to be ways for people to do that. And everybody's always told me it's just difficult, right? It's just hard to always be recruiting. And I've always been taught that as a manager of any business in the home service industry, you should be recruiting at least a third of the time, a third of your time spent finding people as you grow your business, right? What you need today, what you need in the short-term future, and what you need long-term, right? The problem is most business owners in our industry, Curry, as you know, don't do that, right? They get spun up in the day-to-day work of running their business and taking care of customers and doing all those things. So they end up scrambling when someone leaves, right? So when I made a job change last fall, I thought, well, I'll be honest with you. I tried to retire for, 5 minutes or so, I think. And then I'm like, all right, I'm not really built for that quite yet. So let's get this thing off the ground. So I just started kind of playing with some ideas and talking to a bunch of people that I've worked with in the past and put some things together that really, kind of incubated this Blue Collar Recruiter. And then the Blue Collar Recruiter expanded into the Blue Collar Virtual Trade School to really help short-term and long-term with the people problem in the home service industry in these trades particularly. Right.
It's really fulfilling, isn't it, when you have a concept and then you bring it to market and people latch onto it it's so fulfilling to know that you can help at that level.
Right.
Because you're going to change organizations when they start to become more proactive in their recruiting and bringing a stable of people in. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's just like you described with your consulting business, right? It's people, people need to fix what's broken today, which is, I need somebody today, but also think about what does your future plans of the business look like? And obviously a part of that is finding talent, right? And if we can help offset some of the time and the costs of those business owners to find talent, everybody will win, right? That's the beauty of it. And honestly, the reason there's just not a lot of options out there in our industry with other recruiting firms and headhunters in what we do. And so this is our specialty, this is our niche, and this is what we're good at, because it's really all we've done and for 20 years is find people like this. So,
right. So
cool.
Let's say, let me put myself in an owner's shoes.
Yeah.
Right. What can the blue collar recruiter do for me as an owner of any size business? Let's say, I'm a $2 million business or a $15 million business. What can you do for me?
Well, it's kind of like what we talked about, right? So if any owner that is running a business, the turnover rate for technicians and staff is that's an issue for any company, right? In the trades, it's even more of an issue than some others, just because the demand is so high, right? So there's such a giant shortage of people. Some numbers that I've seen, and I think you've even quoted them before too, Curry, in the HVAC world, there's 292,000 open jobs right now, right? In plumbing, there's 425,000 jobs open right now. And in electrical, there's over 628,000 jobs. So the demand and the ease of people going from one shop to the other is easy, right? Because there's so much demand out there, and the industry is growing at a double-digit percentage, right? Looking for more people. So what we can do is to help you sell you, right? So your job is to grow your company in two different ways. You got to grow your team and you got to grow your client base, right? And if we can take some of the burden off of your shoulders so that you can focus, you're the CEO of your company, but we don't want you to be the chief everything officer, right? we want to take the burden of the people part and take that on to us, right? So we'll help you find, our role will be working with you to help you find office staff, right? Sales staff, field staff, and managers. And then you can focus on your business. So it's that old term of work on the business and not in it.
In my experience, more than half of the organizations that I've come in contact with have openings and would be able to hire someone, in particular on the technician level, regardless of the skilled trade. It could be electrical, plumbing, HVAC. They have openings. And the biggest challenge that the industry has is that, over half of the people working in skilled trades right now are over 45 years old. So if they're not looking ahead and being proactive, Troy, that they're really going to be hurting their organization. But a lot of them are doing it themselves.
Right.
So why would they use you versus what they're already doing?
Time and money. Right. So if you, on average, our back of the napkin math, and every time we've ever done the math on this and studied it and looked at and did some research on it, it costs the average small business owner, home service business over at least $4,000 to find a new employee, right? And that doesn't even include the lost revenue if someone left, right, of their truck not being on the road. So it's $4,000, and on average, it takes somewhere between 30 and 40 days to find that person, right? So that the time and the cost, we found to save for our business owners that we can save at least 25% cost for us doing that work for you, so that you can go work on your business, right? And we're going to be doing it all the time, because this is the world we've come from. I know my background running businesses like this and being part of them for 20 years. If you need a general manager, because at some point in time you want to take a break, right? And you need someone to take the wheel. and we'll help you find general managers. If you need office staff or salesperson or people or field staff, we know exactly what you're looking for. And part of our process with, our interview process with you would look like this. We would discuss what we could do for you. And then in turn, you're going to share with us how are we going to sell your company, right? Because these people, because there's such a high demand, we want to make sure that we're pitching your company the best way we can. So, what's the job description look like? What's the wage potential look like? What's the culture, right? Because you want to hire, in my view, you want to hire the best character, the best person you can to represent you and your company in the home, right?
Well, in an interview process, Troy, it's known that both parties need to be selling each other.
Right.
It's not a one-sided, conversation. That company is evaluating that candidate, but the candidate's evaluating the company too, right?
Right. Exactly right. And at the end of the day, because me and my staff have all been in this industry for our entire careers, our job is I'm not going to bring anyone to you, Curry, if you used us, that I wouldn't hire myself.
Oh, that's great.
So I'm personally involved with every interaction. And when I feel comfortable with the candidate, regardless of the role, I'm going to say, Curry, I've got somebody I think you're going to like. And the key to it is just like any good business relationship. It's just that constant communication of here's what we're doing, here's how it's going, here's what we've got. You want to know that we're working on your behalf, and because we all want the same thing, right? We want it to help you find top talent.
Right. Well, let me ask you this, because I think that this is key to your services. Many organizations think the cost of recruiting is the ad I put out. Mm-hmm. Oh, Indeed's charging me X. That's how much it's costing me to recruit a new position. Fundamentally, that is so wrong. Right. What are some other costs that need to be taken into account if someone's doing this on their own that they may be missing and need some clarification?
So you're right. So the first logical thing is, all right, it costs money to put an advertisement or a job posting out there, right? So whatever that is, and there's Indeed, there's I had no idea, but there's literally 10,000 job posting platforms just in the USA. Right? I had no idea, but so we have access to all of those where most businesses, and they're going to might post on one, right? So we're doing it a little bit differently, but to answer your question, that is the most logical first thought is this is what it costs to post the job. But what else is there? Well, let me ask you this. If you're the owner of the business or the general manager of the business, what does it cost you? How much does your time cost? So if you have to interview a client and let alone, one client, but probably 20 clients just to find one good candidate, how much time do you think that takes?
I wouldn't even, it would be hard because we diminish our time. And so we're reviewing every application and we're sorting it. So that takes time and energy and bandwidth and it's, right. Quite honestly, it's not productive time. I'm not generating revenue doing that.
Right.
Right. So we have to look at the balance there. And then the time preparing for an interview, which I hope that they're preparing, sorting through all of that, and then submitting people for background checks, driver's license checks. There's a lot involved.
So I think most business owners forget that the time it takes for their people, their managers to have the interview process. And in my experience, about 9 out of 10 people that want to work for you aren't qualified. So either they've got a background check that isn't very good, they've got some other trouble with drugs or something like that, or they're not skilled enough to fit the need that you have, right? So that takes to talk to 10 people, and if that takes 10 hours, how much do you charge? What's your time worth? So those types of conversations you got to start thinking about. And then you got the cost of the background check and all that kind of stuff. So with us, we do all of that legwork, right? So we're going to be posting on all the different job boards. We're going to be doing the initial interviews, and it's going to go through 3 different people before it even gets to me. and then we'll pull the background check on them so that you know, and I know that I can in good heart feel like, Curry, this is a person I really like. Their background check is clean. They've been tested. They understand the skills needed to do the job. And if it was me, I'd hire them, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's the only person you're talking to. So now you can spend that time. That time is better spent working on your business and generating revenue.
You know, it's interesting you brought up that it goes through, I think you said 3 people before it even gets to you for a decision. And in our leadership programs, we are always coaching to have not only a consistent hiring process,
Mm-hmm.
but it should involve multiple interviews and multiple people.
Right.
Right? Because at an interview, as you know, that's the best you're ever going to see that person. Right? And we have to make sure that we're interviewing them and we're actually turning up the pressure a little bit using behavioral based questions. And you do all of that stuff for your clients. And then when they finally get to someone that you've said, this is someone that I would hire, I think they're a good fit, they can relax and know that all the boxes have been checked.
Right. Well, that's exactly right, because I think that's the right thing to do. And we have these other, and we're doing a lot of other check-ins as well, right? How do they respond to email? How do they come across in a text? How do they answer the phone, right? It's those little things. And every position is going to be a little bit different, of course, right? But, you know, one of the, you know, like I said, finding a good general manager in this space is difficult, right? So you're going to go through 20 or 30 conversations before you find one that's even remotely interesting, right? So, but because that's the background that I have and my team has, we know what we're looking for, and we can weed through that much quicker than most business owners, and hopefully save you a lot of time and save you a lot of money. So on the money side of things too, just to add to that, you'll save, versus you doing it, you'll save a significant amount of money, at least 25% if you do the math. There are other businesses out there that do this sort of thing, headhunters and recruiting firms, but there's not one that I've seen, Curry, that specializes in the home service industry.
Agreed.
Right? They want to do a lot of things. They do all things for everybody, but they're not part of this niche. And that's what we bring to the table for our clients is I know what you want, right? I know exactly the type of talent pool you're trying to generate, and just give us a shot going out and finding it. And honestly, it's, you know, we only get paid when we deliver. So, and you're happy.
You know, you said 9 out of 10 qualify, and that's based on your experience, and I can really appreciate this. I know from an academic perspective, the statistics say anywhere, from 9% to 12% of candidates in the skilled trades, applicants, qualify to work for that organization.
Right.
So if you think about it, that means that the other 90%, right, of the people that are applying don't qualify, yet that owner or general manager is spending time, energy, and resources going through all those people. So it's a really great point. So if I were to hire you, Troy, can you guarantee me anything? Are there guarantees?
Well, there has to be, right? So we the guarantee that we offer at Curry is pretty, what we think is a very big deal, and we stand behind our work, and we have something that we call our 30-day stay guarantee. And it's simple. It's basic. It's this simple, right? If you hire somebody and they start today, as long as they stay with you, if they leave in the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks or in day 29, we'll take and find you a replacement at no additional cost.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Okay.
So for the most part, I would say 98% of the time, you'll know pretty quickly in the first few days or first couple of weeks whether that's the right person or it feels right or you mesh right. For the most part, that's what we found to be true. And so that's why we started our 30-day stay guarantee, which means if it doesn't work out, we're gonna hustle and find you a replacement as quickly as possible with no extra charge.
Okay, so I'm gonna throw you a curveball. Are you okay with that?
Sure.
What are you doing for your clients to assure that they are holding an effective final interview with the candidate that you put in front of them?
So it's a good question, right? So what that's the beauty of the business that we're in is, we're not trying to build a business where we represent 10,000 contractors, right? We're trying to build a business where we're representing really good, solid contractors that have a great reputation in their community, that want to hire people with good character, right? Because that's who we're looking for. We're not in the new construction business world yet. We're not in the commercial world yet. We're in the home service space. And I'm going to work with you as a business owner and find out exactly the type of person you're looking for. And then I'm going to talk to the client, the candidate, in the same exact way. I'm going to tell them, here's what the business is like, here's what the owner is like, and here's how I would have a conversation with that owner. And I would do the same thing for you. Here's everything I know about this candidate, and here's what I like, and here's some things that you might want to ask them, right, to have some clarity. Because at the end of the day, I'm representing you and your business, right? And if there's any question marks at all, and of course there's going to be from time to time, I need you to know, so there's no stone unturned, right? That you feel really good. Because if we do a good job for you, guess what? Then you're going to keep using us, right? And then you're going to tell your friends. That's how it works, right? So that's it. I want it to be successful for all three. I want it to be successful for you. I want it to be successful for the candidate, and I want it to work out well for us.
I love it. That makes perfect sense. And you know what that reminds me of is it's a partnership.
Yeah.
Right. It's a partnership that you're establishing because you not only want, you need that organization to thrive.
Right.
So with that in mind, when we're talking about filling positions and trying to change the perspective of the owner to a more proactive approach, how does the blue collar recruiter utilize and align with the blue collar virtual trade school in regards to being proactive?
Yeah, no, we're very excited about the blue collar virtual trade school. I think it's going to change the world from an academic standpoint. And I'm not taking anything away from universities. I'm not taking anything away from the traditional trade schools, but we're giving people another option, right? To speed it up. And one of the really cool things with the virtual trade school, two things is we've had so much interest in this from our contractors, our business owners, that in a lot of ways they want to sponsor or even pay the tuition for these students that want to get into it, right? So a student could get in, get trained, get licensed, get certified to be a home service technician, and basically almost be assured that they'll get their money back. So they'll get a job and get their money back, right? Which is pretty cool, or all or most of their money back from the hiring company. But the way I look at this, and I know you're a baseball fan, Curry, you got the Patriots behind you, you got your Red Sox. There you go. I love it, right? My Minnesota Twins aren't quite they've got 2 championships, and I'm very proud of that.
It counts.
It does count, right? But I look at this in 3, just like a baseball team would. You got your major league team that from time to time you're going to need free agents, right? So that's part of this business is we need somebody today. So we're going to find you free agents that can jump in that truck tomorrow and generate revenue, right? That's part one. Part two is, what are you going to, being a part of your business we're a business partner, right? And part of it is we're going to find you what you need today, but also let's talk about what you need 3 months from now, right? As summer approaches or winter approaches or whatever, let's start thinking about what your manpower needs look like, so that we can begin and recruit for the future. And then, so that's your AAA team, right? And then lastly, we've got a single A team with our virtual trade school. So what do you need 6 months from now, right? And let's start recruiting heavily in your area for kids to jump into our virtual trade school. And then, and they can be assured basically that if they get through that, you'll hire them, right? And we can work out a deal that everybody wins. And so this is a long-term approach for you to grow your business short-term and long-term. That's how I see it.
Through the years, from consulting and coaching and training at organizations all across the country, one of the things that has struck me And as you know, growing up, I was an electrical apprentice.
Yeah.
And I learned the trade from my cousin, who was a master electrician. The challenge with that is, and it's like that with most trades, they learn it from someone else already in the trade. We call that, in the academic field, we call that tribal learning. They're learning all the things that person knows, including their bad habits. When you send somebody to a trade school, they learn everything from a functional and scientific perspective, and it is consistent.
Mm-hmm.
It's consistent with the trade. So if someone is able to look forward, and I can use an example with one of our shops that I've worked with over the years up in Ohio, where he had 6 trucks at one point and lost 3 of them within a 6-week period, and he was scrambling. And he made a commitment to himself and his organization that would never happen again. And he started training people in-house with curriculum that he got that was standardized. And 5 years later, they're at 15 trucks, and they've never been shorthanded. And he said that his culture has never been better. They've never been more profitable. And he directly attributes it to being able to hire people for character and then get them trained properly. No bad habits, no missing gaps of knowledge. And that's what your virtual trade school does.
Yeah. And I'm glad it was a great analogy of it, right? And with your background, because that's exactly right. So part of our virtual trade school, obviously you're going to learn the technical side of things. That's a big part of it, of course. What we also bring to the table is our home service communications experience, right? So sprinkled in through those studies is a unique experience that we bring to the table that really nobody else does. Is what's it like to work for a home service company, right? What is flat rate pricing? What is, what's the art of asking questions, having a conversation with people, giving people options, those kinds of things, so that when they graduate, they're ready. And then if we work for you and we're building a little army of students to come work for you down the road, then we're gonna talk to you, and I'm gonna say, Curry, what kinds of things do we want to add to the training that will help your business, because they're going to come work for you, and you'll be a part of that as well, right? So that's what makes it very unique, is it's very nimble, and we've got the platforms to make your job a lot easier. That's really the beauty of it. So at a very low cost for everybody.
Yeah, I love it because you can now sit down with them and say, what does your perfect technician look like? And now you can build him.
You can mold them and grow them. Yeah, right. Exactly.
I love it. So how do we, if I'm an owner, how do I get a hold of you, Troy, so that you can, give me a demo of the blue collar recruiter?
So you can call us anytime. Our number is 888-488-2534, or we have our website, www.thebluecollarrecruiter.com. And you'll get in touch with us immediately, and we'll contact you, and we'll walk you through the options available to where we can jump in and help, short-term, long-term, however you want to do it. But yeah, 888-488-2534 or thebluecollarrecruiter.com.
I love it. Troy, I wish you the best. I know that I just hope that you are prepared for the onslaught of people needing your guidance and your help. And I know you're going to just kill it.